Unfair divorce settlement? A lot of people think that their divorce settlement is unfair. Let's see whether we think that this guy's divorce settlement is unfair or if he is just being unreasonable. Let's get into the background. I am writing this in hopes of getting other people's perspective, as I have struggled so hard with mental health issues that I am now isolated and barely leave the house. I had a fairly normal, successful marriage for 30 years, beginning when I was 21 years old. I took on 2 stepchildren that were 5 and 6 and raised them and put them through college. We had 2 more children together, and I started my own business and it was successful, and we became financially independent. Both my kids ended up in the UK. One is a doctor and the other is in university. So both of their children are now living in the UK and they are in the US. Last year, my wife and I had an argument after she came to me and demanded $40,000 for my stepdaughter's wedding reception. What did she need $40,000 for? She was 38 and was marrying a 55-year-old man. The argument led to her saying she wanted a divorce, and I immediately started packing up my things and left. Was this marriage already on the brink of breaking? And why is your stepdaughter marrying someone so much older than her? She then changed her mind and we actually slept together that evening, but the next day she started up again and I left. Over the next few days, I told her how much I loved her and I didn't want to go down this path, and she agreed and said she wanted to go to counseling. A few days later, I returned and she hugged me, and then the doorbell rang and I got served with divorce papers right there. I collapsed on the floor with shock. That is messy. She was like, "Let me make sure he's home." Oh my gosh, that's so rude. She then filed papers that let her stay in the house. That is something that you can do in a divorce proceeding. You can ask to stay in the house. The court does not always grant it, but that is something that you can do. He said that he had to leave, so this is something that his court allowed to happen. I had received about $1 million worth of inheritance from my mother and uncle, which was in the UK, and which I planned to give to my children. She promised that she would not go after my inheritance money as long as I showed her that no money had gone from the US to the UK in the past 5 years. I verified this with her and also made sure that she included using my inheritance money as leverage to get more of our US assets. She agreed to this multiple times. So she was trying to say, okay, well, you can have your $1 million worth of inheritance and then I would get more in the assets in the US. If you didn't know, inheritance belongs to the person who inherited it, and it's not subjected to a divorce proceeding unless the person can show that the inheritance has been commingled with divorce assets. So essentially what the wife was asking the husband to do was to show that he's not spending the money in the UK, which that's not really the threshold. It's whether he was using the inheritance to pay for community things, like they bought a house in the UK with the inheritance, and they both then paid for the house with their income. It's a lot that goes into it, but generally speaking, inheritance is not subjected to the divorce, okay? So let's stick with that. But the wife was trying to subject his inheritance to the divorce in order for her to get more of the divorce assets. When I went to mediation, the first spreadsheet that she sent to me had all of my inheritance money split between the 2 of us. When I pointed this out to her lawyer, they sent another spreadsheet that showed my inheritance money being left alone, but me receiving a fraction of the US assets. She was receiving all of the cash and the IRAs, about 1.1 million, and the house 610,000, and was leaving me with about 600,000 in 2 rental properties, 330,000 and 220,000, that were heavily depreciated and had massive capital gains due to their sale. They were overvalued and were only worth 310,000 and 990,000 respectively. They also had about $50,000 due on their sale, as well as sales costs. This meant that she got 1.7 million and I got 1.05 million, and 62% to wife and 38% to husband. I was shocked at the mediation that she had lied to me again about my inheritance tax, even though I had shown her that no money had moved from the US to the UK in the last 5 years. Again, even if he moved any of the inheritance money to the UK, that's his prerogative. It's his money. He can do whatever he wants with it other than commingle it with the community property fund. So don't put it in the same bank account that you and your wife put your earnings in, okay? So long as it's in a different bank account, he could put it in Switzerland if he wanted to. It's none of her business what he does with her inheritance. Her offering that she takes 62% and he takes 38%, it's completely fine. It's up to him to argue why that's not fair and why it should be a 50-50 split. So I don't think she's wrong in making the first offer. Now negotiate and get it to 50-50. I would have to take the risk of losing my inheritance money or accepting whatever deal her lawyer put in front of me. No, you don't. What are you talking about? Get a lawyer and make your offer too. Like, what are we talking about? As naive as I was, the thought of not splitting our assets 50-50 had not even occurred to me. It doesn't have to occur to you. What are you talking about? My wife had never worked during our marriage, and I had raised both of her children without any support. I did not want to divorce, and there was no real reason for it other than an argument and words that were said that she felt she couldn't take back. She also regrets it now. I am left with such a feeling of betrayal and injustice, and she will not apologize or discuss it even though it is documented as to what happened. She knew that my inheritance money was really just being held for our 2 children to help them with their first home or whatever. She used it to blackmail me basically into getting a much lower amount in the US assets. So you agreed to this? Okay, y'all. Let's talk about this. Make sure y'all are commenting your thoughts on this story. As you know, I am licensed in California, so I'm going to be talking about this under California law. And as always, this is not legal advice. This is just my opinion based on my legal experience. This does not tell us exactly what state they're filing for divorce in. California is a community property state, which may be different than a lot of other states because I believe there are only 8 or 9 community property states. But luckily in this case, the only separate property interest that they talk about is the inheritance, and that usually works the same in most states. And we're not talking about separate property, houses or cars or anything of that nature. It seems like all the other assets that they are dividing, they are agreeing that these are community assets and should be divided between the 2 of them. Now, the percentage of which they're dividing it is not equal, but like I said, it's up to husband to negotiate this. So let's rewind back to the inheritance. The inheritance, for all intents and purposes, seems like it belongs to the husband. He gets that $1 million. He can do whatever he wants with it. Like I said earlier in the video, if he wanted to send it to Switzerland, UK, wherever he wants to send it, he can send it there so long as he is not commingling it with the community assets, meaning he's not putting it in the same savings account that they have joint together, or even an account that he established while in the marriage with the wife. So long as he has it in a separate account that it was deposited into, it's not with his community property, he can trace where it has been. That is his money. It should not even be a discussion in the divorce. Now, when we're talking about dividing the assets, the IRAs, the houses, all of the things, he is saying that the wife is inflating the value of the rental property. Get a lawyer and argue it. Take it to trial, you know? And we're talking about dividing cash in IRAs. If he doesn't think that it's an equal split, which it sounds like she's getting a lot more of, then he can take it and have it divided down the middle. So let's say we got $500,000 in cash and $600,000 in the IRA. If the parties don't agree that that matches up to him taking the rental properties, what the court can do is say, okay, $500,000 split, you get $250, you get $250. Okay, the $600,000 split, okay, you get $300, you get $300. Let's sell them. Okay, they say it's worth this much, you get 50%, you get 50%. If there's no reason for him to take less money, take it to court. Even if you don't sell the rental properties, both of you go get the house evaluated by someone and she go get the house evaluated by someone, and then you guys go to trial and they argue what the value is, and the court will probably land somewhere in the middle. In divorces, everyone loses, so no one's going to be happy with the situation. The most you can do is fight for your rights, not just lay down and accept, well, I'm keeping the inheritance, so whatever split her lawyer says, then that's what we're going to go with. No, get your own lawyer. It sounds like you guys have plenty of money. Get your own lawyer and take it to the court, and they should split it down the middle. If it is truly all community property, there's no reason why it shouldn't be split down the middle. Now let's talk about child care. He talks about how he raised her children and he doesn't ask for any money back from that. He's not entitled to any money back from that. He did that out the kindness of his heart and wanting to be with his wife. So there's nothing that he can do about that. He doesn't get more in the divorce settlement because he took care of her kids. Like, I don't even understand why he's bringing that up. It's a moot point. It's a red herring. We don't need to know that you raised her children. Good for you. The fact that the wife never worked during the marriage, he should be happy that she's not asking for alimony, because that probably would make her have a higher split than he has. He said he got with this woman at 21. They had a 30-year marriage, so that makes him about 51 years old. And if he had to pay spousal support, he would probably be paying that for the rest of his life. I don't know if he's retired or anything yet. He didn't really say. He just said he has successful businesses. It also doesn't sound like they divided the businesses. Was that sold before they moved to UK? I don't really know how all that is into play right here. But like I said, he's lucky that she's not asking him for spousal support, which would be something he would be paying each month. So it might be a good idea for him to just accept this settlement. Now, if this is a situation where neither of the parties is working and no one has income, so really all they are splitting is the actual assets, then he needs to make the argument to be 50-50. So overall, in this case, inheritance is completely his. If he wants a 50-50 split of the assets, then he needs to take it to court and he needs to have the things valued so that he can get a fair split and put a settlement offer. Just because they put a settlement offer out doesn't mean that you have to agree to that immediately. You can negotiate back and forth, and if you can't come to an agreement, then you take it to court and have the court divide it. And like I said, if all of this was really acquired during the marriage, court's gonna split it 50-50 down the middle as much as possible. If you don't think that the IRAs and the cash equal the houses, the rental properties that you're getting, then go and get everything divided down the middle. And if you have to sell your rental properties, you have to sell your rental properties. It's okay. And the other thing that he's leaving out about the rental properties is that he can still generate income off of the rental properties and she's not asking for alimony. So this kind of seems like a little bit of a whiny post. The inheritance is his. He can make a negotiation to split everything 50-50. And if not, take it to trial. He doesn't get anything back for the children that he helped raise. She doesn't appear to be asking for alimony. So to me, it seems like he just agreed to this without even trying to fight it. But as always, y'all let me know what y'all think. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you are liking and subscribing so that we can reach more people that enjoy content like this. And be sure to check out the next video.